Welcome to Whole Wheat Costa. Next week we have to get better beer for the beer table. Tonight I'm drinking Namaste White mixed with a Festina Peach. It's actually a really good mixture. I saw it on the Dogfish Head Facebook page, so pretty delicious. Kev is drinking peanut butter beer, which tastes just like peanut butter, which is weird. And once again, Yingling Oktoberfest, so we might have to go all out next week.
Yeah, but a whole case of Oktoberfest a few
Yeah.
weeks ago, so it will continue.
I was sick Monday, so tonight is our off night, and we're recording on a Wednesday.
I feel super uncomfortable recording on Wednesdays.
Yeah. But he didn't wear his disgusting pea covered scrubs, and it was a typical our monthly walk outside to fix his car and change some headlights.
Yeah, my new car. So the thing that killed my old car was that my headlights died, and then we changed them, and they died again. So it was an electrical problem, obviously. So then I got a new car, and a new used car, but certified pre and all that stuff. And the one headlight died like after a few weeks. I'm like, this is a fucking joke, but it's fixed. Hopefully this is just an isolated problem. And I'm not working a third job soon to pay off another car.
Yeah.
So segue into the topic of, so I had issues at work recently, but I'm like pretty depressed now about sort of the personal aspect of those issues. Um, so, so my role changed at work, and my salary was cut, and so it's not a huge percentage, but it's sort of the principle of it that I've done a ton of extra work for years, and I just feel like it's super disrespectful that to just not just like leave me at the same amount of money, sort of for all the extra work I put into to do the role that I was. So I'm pretty pissed off about it, and I'm pretty depressed about it, and I've talked to like a bunch of the higher up people, and like, I'm getting nowhere, and I think I'm going to lose fighting against it, but the thing that depressed me about it today is I was sort of finally at peace with it, because my like chief in the department like called to people for me, and like he fought for me, and like he was basically like, yeah, like there's nothing we can do, like I tried. So I felt better about it, that like I didn't just give in. Like everyone knows I'm happy about it, which I feel like is good going forward, to like everyone hopefully feels shitty about it. That's like above me. So.
Do the patients know you're on? Like, are you like bending and twisting penises?
Yeah, patients are unaffected.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's good that everyone knows I'm unhappy about it, and hopefully in the future, they'll take that into consideration, that like I feel like I was screwed. Um, but the thing that pissed me off today is then we're leaving work. I'm talking to Kelly, and one of the things I'd emailed to people from HR, and I hadn't heard back, and she was like, and she said a couple of times, like, you should call HR. And I don't know. And I felt like that was silly, because there wasn't a particular person I could call. So I'm going to call, get some like lower level person who then transferred me 73 times. I spent 2 hours on the phone and like essentially just leave a message anyway. So I felt like was going to happen. So then so I told her today, like, I feel resolved. Like, this is the things that happened. Like I'm not going to worry about it going forward. We just have to deal with it. And then she was like, and then she said again that I should call. And it pissed me off, because I just told you I was like finally at peace with it. Like, I understand it affects both of us, but like I'm pretty upset about it. And I just said all the steps that were taken. Like no one's above like the person I talked to, or that was talked to for me today.
Yeah.
Like no person in middle management in HR is like going to overturn like who we talked to today.
You would have to go to like board of directors meeting.
Yeah. So I definitely like, gave her a little bit of attitude about it, and then she was like pissed off at me. She's like, I don't give me attitude about it. But it was annoying, because I feel like, so for me it was like flashback to like all the early, like when I was first fighting like with my ex-wife about like child support stuff, and like seeing my son and stuff, and I felt like, I mean, obviously I felt guilty about a lot of stuff, so I didn't fight probably as hard as I should have at that point, and I'm definitely still, we're all still suffering because of it. So I still feel weird about that, but I felt like she was just so in my face about it all the time. Like, oh, you have to do this, and you have to say this, and you have to do this. And it just felt like emasculating. Like I wasn't doing my job, like fighting for like to pay less child support so that, or not less, but like a reasonable amount versus the ridiculous amount I was paying at first. I wasn't like fighting for more time more than I was, and now that I'm not like fighting to keep this money, like it feels like emasculating that she's saying like I'm not doing my job, like in like fighting everyone, for everything ever, like for our family. Yeah. I don't know. And I just feel like I'm not that kind of person. Like, I mean, I'm not going to just get like roll over, but I mean, I will fight a reasonable amount.
But
I feel like
not to take sides, but how far would she go if that happened?
I don't know. Well, that's a good point. I don't really know.
Yeah, did you ask her like, like you should be like, well, how far would you go? And then have it happen to everyone always knows exactly what to do until they're in your shoes.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that because she's gotten screwed over at work because she's in a situation where, she's been in the same job for so long and she's been in this job since she was really young. So like, I feel like, and she feels like she's not really taking that seriously, like for promotions and stuff. And she's gotten passed over for promotions.
That's how I feel.
So I mean, yeah, I haven't seen her like flip out about it at anyone, but I don't know. It made me think of there's a story about like the three unifiers of Japan, whose names I forget now, but the story I thought was really good. The story is essentially that the reason why they were able to unify Japan is because they weren't just like the same guy. Like one guy was like a martial guy, one guy was like an administrative guy, one guy was more of a people person. So the story is that the three of them have a bird, like a songbird, and it doesn't sing. So they asked like each one of them, what should we do? The one guy is like, well, make it sing, and the second guy is like, or no, the first guy basically says kill it because it doesn't sing, get a new one.
Right.
The second guy says, well. No, I'm sorry. I told the story wrong now twice. I was right the first time. The first guy says, we'll make it sing. And then the second person says, basically, make it want to sing. And the third person says, we wait, it's going to sing eventually. And I feel like that's the issue. I feel like whenever something happens in our life, Kelly's like, we're going to fight everybody. Yeah. And like, and I'm not like that. I like to think I'm like the second guy, but I'm really more probably like the third guy. Like we'll just, you just wait till conditions are right, and then you do what you have to do. Right. I don't see a point in pointless battles or, arguing when there's like almost no chance of success. Like I'm not going to overturn this high level decision about my salary realistically, but I looked into it. I talked to some people to make sure there wasn't anything I could do, and it looks like there isn't. So
and the longer you battle, like they'll be like, look, Kev, we're okay with your, we're okay with what you do, but we found someone better.
Yeah,
now you're on unemployment.
Well, that's the thing. You have a point where like you start pissing people off. Like I feel like I'm at the point now where hopefully people feel shitty about it, but like if I keep fighting it, then I'm the asshole, even though I'm right.
You can rock the boat a little bit, but you don't want to tip the boat.
Yeah. So with the pressure today, like with the fighting on the way home, like what I just did is, because I hadn't really heard back from HR, I just emailed another person in HR and I was like, hey, can you just call me and talk about it tomorrow? So I feel like that's not like too much rocking the boat, but still like doing another thing just to try.
Right. Now, earlier we talked about our walk outside, and you're like, yeah, that just brings us right into our next topic. I thought you were going to talk about the Catch Me Outside girl.
Oh, we're never talking about that.
which is like a much better like flow. Like we were outside, so let's talk about work inside.
Yeah.
So what about this Catch Me Outside girl?
Yeah. So
which is to me hilarious. That she got like national attention for just being a scumbag. Like,
well, I think I'm always impressed with people that take full advantage of a situation. She got national attention for being so shitty, and now she's. I think people still know who she is, and it's been like a year or so.
I think the best thing I saw was the meme of her. She's on FaceTime with someone, and her phone's like down by her waist side, and she's talking to someone. And it's like, how shitty of a person will be on FaceTime with someone and talk to someone in person. Yeah. Like, it's great.
Well, like there's, because so she's actually like 14 or something. Like she's like, the problem with the world, like these hypersexualized like teenagers or whatever. But there's like one meme of her and it's something like it's like shows her and she's like has like a tank top on, it's her phone, and it's like a close up and it's something like, oh, she's 14. How does she have? And like it's like a close up of sort of her boobs, and it's like an iPhone. How does she afford an iPhone? But But I definitely, I definitely followed her on Instagram just to piss Kelly off. So that way, whenever she's like live, I'll be like, it's Catch Me Outside Girl. We should watch her live.
I,
But
that makes you like kind of creepy.
oh yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. I'll go to those lengths to be annoying. But
I know you will.
yeah, but but then she there was a thing where apparently she released a rap song now, something like These Hoes or something. It's spelled Heaux.
Yeah.
So I was like joking with Kelly that we should listen to it, and Kelly was like, if you pay for that song, we're broken up. Like it's done. It's
Like,
over.
what do you mean by pay for? Like on YouTube or?
Yeah, like if
just-
you download it on like the Google Play Store or something.
that wouldn't be that wouldn't be good for $1.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't actually go that far. I'll be creepy, but I'm not going to waste money just to be annoying.
Yeah. It's Catch Me Outside Girl tags Kylie Jenner in these Ho music video
Heaux.
Yeah.
I actually haven't heard the song or watched the video, but
It's 100% not good. I can almost guarantee it.
yeah.
So what how'd you find out about it?
'Cause I told you I followed her on Instagram, so it was on the Instagram thing. But yeah, so this is the most organized I've ever been with the podcast because the first few podcasts I wanted to write down some topics on paper, but JD, my handwriting's so bad that JD wouldn't let me write down topics for myself to look at on paper. So I finally just put them on my phone notepad, and now I feel like my flow is totally off because I'm like looking at the topics. So terrible idea. We're just totally winging it again next week.
Yeah.
Idea's dead. But that led us to the topic of sort of expanding the podcast now that we've uploaded 2 episodes to about having a producer here to like put things in, like put these hoes
All right, we're gonna
music
play
in
it.
there.
Yeah.
All right, JD's being the producer now.
Yeah. Well, it starts off her getting out of fancy car. It's in the background.
I can't hear this at all. I don't have any headphones.
Not yet. Let's see. Bad Baby. BHAD.
That's a rap name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh okay. Most news Kevin tells me about pop culture is always new to me
Yeah.
because I don't pay attention. Oh, this guy has a giant AK-47.
Oh, I see it. Yep.
Oh my. Well, I have to say, like her going after her fame like this is like perfect, and I can't blame her whatsoever. Because if I had to make money, I would totally make money this way too.
That's what I mean. I mean, she's impressive in that way that she's taking advantage of the situation. But I don't know. It's the same thing we said about like the Kardashians before. Like they know how to exploit their talents, basically.
Yeah, she is like the Conor McGregor of rapping.
Yeah.
She thinks she can, but it didn't turn out too well for her.
Basically.
Yeah. So.
But yeah. So that McGregor fight. That was something.
Yeah. So. People think it was great. I say it was not. The first 3 rounds were absolute trash. So that's not cool. The first 4, 5, and 6 were okay. Then 7, 8, and 9 like really turned on for Mayweather, and Mayweather did really well and just like did what he had to do to end it.
See, I really like the fight, but I'm not a boxing fan. But I like the story of the fight, basically. But that's what I was wondering. Like, if you were a big boxing fan, or if you're like a big time boxer, like it's got to be really frustrating to as a boxing fan watch all these great fights that happen that nobody's ever heard of or knows about, or like if you're a big time boxer, 99% of all the champions currently in boxing, no one's ever heard of.
Right.
So then to have this like sideshow be this huge pay-per-view event. Like it's got to be frustrating. I don't know. It would be like if I don't know. I don't even have a good example.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if Conor McGregor fought one of the middleweights that are at the top tier now, Golovkin, Triple G, or the other guy who's fighting Triple G soon, he would just get it. He would get his bell rung real quick. Like even Mayweather admitted like he's not at the top of his game, and these two guys are Canelo.
Yeah.
These two guys are at the top of their game. So I mean, it would be over in like a couple rounds.
Well, that's what you wonder though, because I mean, yeah, Mayweather's not on the top of his game, but he's still one of the best fighters ever. He's still 50-0.
Right.
So I mean, obviously, I mean these younger guys are in their prime, but I don't know. You think it'd be that lopsided? Like if Mayweather fought one of these guys? I mean, he'd probably lose. But
Oh, he would definitely lose. That video I sent you yesterday of
Yeah.
Triple G knocking out that guy.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's
that
awesome punch.
yeah, that power.
Yeah.
Neither one of those guys had that power in that fight.
Yeah, he was in the video. He's dodging a punch and throws a punch at the same time and just destroys the guy. Like
Yeah.
off balance, throws the punch and destroys him.
Yeah, Triple G is one of the top boxers in the world right now in his weight class, and if he had to fight Conor McGregor, Conor McGregor would just get his bell rung real quick. Michael Rappaport, an actor, he said that the loser of the Triple G Canelo fight should fight McGregor just to shut McGregor up once and for all because he's like talking like, oh, that referee ended the fight too soon, and he's like, no, he ended it right away so that no one saw you get knocked through the ropes like you were about to get knocked through the ropes.
Yeah, that really pissed me off after the fight because I mean, and again with the caveat that Mayweather's Super Bowl at this point and not on top of his game. I mean, I think McGregor did better than a lot of people thought he was going to do. And it was really disappointing the day after the fight. I mean, and the people I was watching the fight with took it different ways. But I mean, the way I took it was that he was saying, and I still stand by this. He said something like, "Oh, he stopped the fight too soon. I was just fatigued. That's what it looks like when I'm fatigued." That's bullshit. You were getting your ass kicked.
Yeah.
You weren't fatigued.
If you're fatigued, that's you're losing. They're not going to stop the fight and be like, okay, you could take a minute break now in the middle of a round. Like, yeah, he's fatigued. But if that fight went on another 15 seconds, he would have fell through the ropes.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have been a TKO. It would have been a KO.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the fake tough guy. It's like, oh, hold me back.
Yeah. We'll never know what happened 15 seconds later because they stopped the fight. But everybody kind of knows what will happen. Like, even if you're a fanboy of McGregor, you know that fight was over.
Well, I had somebody that I'm friends with on Facebook was pissed off after the fight and said, oh, this is proof that it's this Mayweather boxing conspiracy. They were protecting boxing, that they stopped the fight. I don't know. It just drives me. I just think it's so disrespectful that McGregor would do that. Like, he got his ass kicked just a bit.
Right. And obviously anybody who paid any attention, McGregor won 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
5 and 6 were a toss up.
Yeah.
And then 7 and I say Mayweather, and then 8, 9, and 10 were just Mayweather. So that's my opinion.
So the one argument McGregor had, though, I thought, but this wasn't the argument that he seemed to make, was that the way the fight would have been scored, it would have been close in the end if he could have survived. I mean, I don't think there's any way he survives 12 rounds, but if he could have survived, it would have been a close fight, points wise. Although it kind of pissed me off because McGregor had so many dirty punches that, like, I mean, and again, I don't watch a lot of boxing. I've watched some boxing in my life, but not enough to really know the answer to this. Like, how fucking dirty do you have to be to get to get your points reduced? I mean, he punched Mayweather in the back of the head like 35 times.
Right.
I mean, he was warned about it. Then, like, the next punch hit him in the back of the head.
Yeah, Mayweather did turn a lot, which some boxing people said like he wasn't turning, and they kind of explained it, and I still didn't get it. It just looked like he was turning because I've seen that, but not that much.
Yeah, Well, I mean, I think he was probably trying to bait McGregor into doing cheap things and getting penalized for it. I mean, I think that's smart. So
Yeah, it's a chess game,
Yeah.
and
Oh, well, that was the difference. I mean, Mayweather was playing a chess game. McGregor was boxing.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
I've always said, and people disagree with this. I've always said, and a lot of other people have the same mindset where boxing is a chess match, whereas UFC or cage fighting or whatever MMA is checkers.
Yeah.
It's like there. John Jones, he's a chess player in the ring.
Yeah.
John Jones is, even though with the steroids and the stuff outside the ring, he's one of the greatest fighters ever. You hear his interviews, and he has a game plan, and he brings people into his game.
Mm.
Daniel Cormier is the same way, even though John Jones just mops the floor with Cormier. Cormier's a good number two,
Mhm.
but those guys are chess players in MMA,
Yeah.
whereas a lot of MMA, it's not. It's
Just the biggest, strongest
yeah,
guy.
it's the best fighter, and the game plan is like the biggest, the top champ in the last like 10 years has been McGregor, who goes out there and just tries to beat the shit out of you, and Brock Lesnar, who just goes out there and tries to beat the shit out of the next guy.
Yeah.
So, and they're strikers, and then your top heavyweights like Mark Hunt, he's a striker,
Mm.
and then back in the day, you had Royce Gracie, who was a terrible striker, but he would take strikes from you just to get you in a submission,
Mhm.
and that's a chess player. But most of the people are checkers players, which
Yeah.
is the best best relevance.
Well, that's what you wonder, though, if, because boxing's been around so long, I mean, these strategies have been able to develop. You wonder if 50 years from now, if UFC will be more of a strategic game.
Oh, absolutely.
So, because, if you look at early, like, football, it was like two lines of guys running into each other. Like, there was nothing going on in anyone's head there.
Yeah. Well, the evolution of UFC itself from 1990, or whenever it started, you could see the evolution uh, form in the last 20, 25 years. But I think it'll take another 20 years before, like, you're watching hundreds of hours of tapes to
Yeah.
prepare. McGregor had like 1,000 hours of tapes to watch,
Yeah.
and Mayweather's like, oh, I don't even know what to watch because it's not the same rules.
Yeah. Well, I just like the storyline of, and this is something, I don't know if I've referenced this Cracked article before, that on crack.com. There's a great article about essentially, like, it's from, so comedy writer now in his 30s, and talking about, like, guys that come into the workplace in their early 20s and how they're just all fucking douchebags, and so now at 33, like, that's sort of how I feel like when I see young people work. I just hate them. I just
Yeah.
hate them all. I think they're idiots. I think they have no idea what they're doing, but they think they know what they're doing. They're just all annoying, and and that's what, like, the Mayweather McGregor fight was. Mayweather's this old experienced veteran, and here's this big tough brash kid that comes in. Mayweather was like, well, let me show you how to box.
Right.
This is how boxing actually works.
And like uh, people, I've heard other thing. People are like, telling, well, Mayweather would lose if he went to the UFC, and even like no one's gonna argue that. That's 100% accurate. Even
Yeah.
Mayweather's like, yeah, I would lose. I don't train for that.
Yeah.
But where boxing, there's only one boxer I think that could successfully not train for MMA
Mhm.
in his prime, and I think that's Mike Tyson. He would just
Yeah.
go in there and he would just use his brute power. These guys train for decades to be well-rounded fighters, and boxers train to be a boxer. So
Yeah.
a boxer going into MMA ring on almost no training is going to lose 10 out of 10 times, where MMA guy who's trains in boxing as well as MMA,
Mhm.
it's a toss-up, 50-50.
Yeah, what's wrong with McGregor if he would be, I mean, he obviously wouldn't be like a champion boxer, but if he'd be like a decent boxer, if he really got into boxing and trained for it, if he would be a, middling sort of guy.
He would. I don't think he'd ever rank up.
Yeah.
I don't think he could go through the ranks.
Hmm.
I mean he could beat a bunch of lower end guys, but once
Yeah.
starts hitting the the mid card kind of guys,
Yeah.
they'll destroy him because
Yeah.
they've been boxing 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, he's already 28 or whatever, so he doesn't have enough time and experience to really rank up to where like Canelo is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I just love the whole storyline of the fight of just, Mayweather just, I mean, and it was so obvious what he was doing. He just went out and he hardly threw any punch. I mean, he lost the first 3 rounds because he wanted to. Like he
Right.
hardly threw any punches. Like he just stood there and just watched what McGregor could do and what he had. And it was awesome to see him like literally laughing going back to the corner.
Yeah.
Because he said afterwards he knew McGregor would come out hot-headed and expel everything he had in the first few rounds.
Mayweather told everybody his game plan exactly. He told everybody how it would go. The only thing that he was wrong about is when he got knocked out.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he was wrong about. He told everybody his game plan. He's like, well, I'm gonna attack. I'm gonna see what happens. Then I'm gonna attack. And then he saw what happens. And then he attacked. Then he knocked him out.
Yeah, but it shows how like arrogant McGregor is that he knew that and he like fell for it. Like he did it. I mean, it was awesome to see. Like I said, to see Mayweather walk back to the corner laughing because essentially, I'm assuming what was going through his head was he went out there. He just defended. He was like, "Oh, that's the absolute best this guy has. Like that's not a big deal. Like this is fine."
Yeah. The question of the night is:
Yeah.
did Mayweather break a sweat?
I don't think so. That was whole. I mean, at the end of it, I mean, McGregor's face was punched in, and Mayweather was like, I don't know, maybe he was like a little glistening, but I mean, there was not an individual sweat drop anywhere.
Yeah, no, like he was about to sweat. Like if he actually had to run around the ring anymore, they'd be like, oh no, he's sweating. Like by the 5th round, I knew there was no chance McGregor was gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, McGregor given everything he had, and Mayweather was totally unaffected. What's like the Pokemon thing? Like that attack was very ineffective.
Yeah.
I mean, not that Mayweather destroyed him, but I mean, so again, in Pokemon terms,
Yeah.
I mean, Mayweather had average attacks against him, and McGregor was very ineffective.
Yeah.
So
He's using a fire attack against a fire Pokemon.
essentially,
Yeah. It was amazing, and now Mayweather gets to retire 50-0.
yeah, that's cool.
I feel like it's asterisks, 49 boxers and 1 fighter. And
Yeah.
then, now he says he earned $300 million from the fight.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, half that goes to taxes, obviously.
Yeah.
Trainers and all that stuff. So he'll probably walk away with like 150, 160.
Yeah.
And then McGregor, he's like, yeah, I won like 100 million, like after everything. And I'm like, can't beat that for 25 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I was into boxing for a little bit, like literally maybe like a year, after I saw, when he was like towards the end of his prime, maybe like just past his prime, but still a good boxer. I saw Bernard Hopkins fight at the Spectrum, and he fought like, it was like a mandatory defense, which is like why he had it here. It wasn't like a real big deal. But I mean, and he destroyed, it was like some French guy, and it was like a joke, the fight. Yeah. But I don't know, that's sort of what turned me off to boxing, because then Bernard Hopkins was like the one guy I knew. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was like undefeated until one of his last fights. And then he fought a guy and who, again, from my limited knowledge of boxing at the time, I thought he fought well and probably should have won, and he lost in a split decision. And I just was so disenchanted with the sport, because I feel like, I don't know, I guess coming from like being a big baseball fan, where like, if you're a really good pitcher, like the umpire gives you a little bigger strike zone because, just because of your cachet, like they assume that you know what you're doing, or like if you're like a, top of the line, at the plate, like your strike zone's a little smaller because they know you're a big deal, and then to look at boxing and be like, well, wait a second, Bernard Hopkins is a champion. He's like, he's one of the best guys ever, and he's going to lose in a split decision.
He's 55-8.
55-8.
Yeah.
I feel like he kept boxing after that, and then like didn't do well.
No,
Yeah.
most of his loss, and he has 2 draws, 2 no contests,
Mhm.
and most of those are after 51.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think it was. I think I saw that first loss,
Right.
and I was just so I don't know. I felt like it was disrespectful. I feel like in a sport where like you're a big name guy and you're fighting like a not that important guy, like you shouldn't lose in a split decision. I don't know.
And
I feel like the champion shouldn't be dethroned in a split decision. I
right.
feel like you have to really beat the champion.
Yeah. So okay. His name is. Now I'm gonna. No, he won the Spectrum against a
Yeah.
French guy.
Oh no. He won at the
Oh,
Spectrum. This is like a few years later.
Muradi Hakar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe there were no punches thrown in the first round. There was something really weird about the fight. It was something like that.
Right.
Because the guy like literally backed away from him so hard that he backed into the corner one time and almost hurt himself.
I would never like even now, 50 something years old. I would never fight him. That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, yeah, the Spectrum is a French guy, and he won that. And then his first loss, not his first loss, but his next loss was Jermaine Taylor.
Yeah, that may be the fight
Yeah,
I'm thinking about.
and
Was it split decision, does it say?
no, it doesn't. It doesn't say undisputed. No. And then he lost again to Jermaine Taylor.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
like then he was done, but he kept boxing for some
Yeah,
reason.
he lost. He lost the WBA, yeah, middleweight title. And okay, yeah, and then he won a couple, but he never made it. Oh, he won again against Jean Pascal
Huh.
at 46 years old,
So
and then draw, win, no contest, loss, win, loss, retired.
So he just really beats the shit out of the French guys.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, he was Canadian,
Ah,
French Canadian.
French Canadian, yeah.
Yeah. So that's Bernard Hopkins. I've never been to a boxing match.
Yeah, it was the most boring thing because there's hours of pre-fights and like I think it was like maybe my first year of college and I went with a guy I was friends with in high school. It was like back in town for like a few days and yeah, and I honestly still never paid him for the ticket. I was literally thinking about this the other day that I should send him the $50 now, like 15 years later, for this ticket. I kind of wanted to Facebook message him to see if he has Venmo.
Yeah. Which I made you just get.
Yeah.
Boxing match I just watched today
Yeah.
was Evander Holyfield Tyson, where Tyson bit off his ear.
Oh yeah.
So
What a weird thing.
I don't remember the fight. I think I was too young, but I remember the whole controversy and everything. And Tyson bit his ear, and then they went to their corners. They finished up the thing,
Yeah.
the round. They went to their corners. They went out again. Tyson bit his ear again.
Yeah. What was the outcome? Was Tyson disqualified in the end?
Tyson. They took away 2 points, and I think he was DQ'd.
He just took away 2 points for biting someone's ear.
Yeah, which is weird. I think he was gonna lose the fight, which is the bite. Tyson 2, the bite fight. Yeah, that was the bite fight. Tyson was disqualified, and melee ensued. Tyson claimed his bites were retaliation to Holyfield's unchecked headbutts, which had cut him in the fights.
Well, I guess that's the thing with any sport that really relies on referees. Like I know, like so I've been watching a couple of years, but in the past I've been a really big hockey fan, and I remember my I'd watch a lot of games with my dad, and he'd always get pissed off watching hockey games because his thing was always like, oh, how what's the point of a sport where in the last 5 minutes of the game the rules are different. Because if it's a close game at the end or in overtime, they let it. The rules don't apply anymore. You can do whatever the hell. You basically have to slash a guy across the face with your stick to get a penalty.
Right.
The rules just get way looser, and I sort of agree with that. And I guess that's the problem with boxing too. Like something like that. I mean, if he's getting headbutted, he has nothing to do back about it. So
Right.
and like the McGregor punched Mayweather in the back of the head 35 times.
Right.
I don't know.
My dad got mad at all sports because he always bet on sports.
Oh, that's a bad time.
This year, I really gave the Phillies a chance. Like I really tried to get into them.
Yeah, me too.
again.
Me too. For like a few weeks.
Yeah,
I
and
couldn't
then
do it.
like they were just so bad that like I couldn't do it anymore. But like I really want to try. But maybe I have to pick a better team. So I'm not like I stayed up till 11 to watch them lose.
Well, there's a dude now whose name I honestly don't remember. who over the last couple weeks has set the record for the fastest guy to like 11. I think it's 11 home runs in like 20 games or something ridiculous.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he set the major league record for it. And I think he hit 5 home runs in 5 games in a row or something crazy. I just read an article like the manager was joking like, yeah, I mean if he does that in home run in a game, it's pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
So
take a guess right now
Mm.
at the Phillies record.
Oh geez, what are they like 30 games under 500?
No, just take a guess at their record.
Let's see. It's the end of the year, so it's probably like so they're probably like 50 and I don't know how many games we had at this point. 50 and 100, so like somewhere in that area.
49
Okay.
and 83.
Yeah.
They're 32 games back.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
32 games.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so they could win for an entire month straight and still not make first place.
Yeah, that's crazy. Do they even have them? Yeah, they have a month. Well, I mean, they're not going to make it to playoffs. The Nationals are 81 and 51.
Yeah.
The opposite.
So when it's August and you're mathematically eliminated, like that's a problem.
Yeah. The Marlins are at exactly 500.
Yeah.
The Braves are at 450. The Mets are at 435, and the Phillies at a whopping 371.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is that that's disappointing, and I talked about disrespectful things multiple times in this episode, but I feel like as a Phillies fan, you feel disrespected by the team because, when they were good, I mean, we showed up. I mean, how many teams did you see? How many teams have you seen that can't sell out all their World Series tickets? We're just there's no interest in baseball in the city.
Right.
Or like I think the best example so you had the million plus people for the Phillies parade. And couple of years before that, the Lightning won the Stanley Cup. A guy I used to be friends with was like down there during their playoff run. And he said he basically got like free tickets to every game. Was like nobody wanted them, including the Stanley Cup games. He went to some of the Stanley Cup games because the tickets were that easy to get.
Yeah, but that's hockey. So
well, no, but I mean here, it's a huge deal when the Flyers go deep in the playoffs.
Anybody goes deep in the playoffs.
I mean, in a city like Philadelphia or New York or Boston, but in Tampa. And then he said, so he even got Stanley Cup tickets with like no issue.
Yeah.
And then he went to they had a big Stanley Cup celebration, and they didn't have enough people to fill their arena for the free Stanley Cup celebration.
Yeah, well, I mean the Northeast, Chicago, L.A.
Yeah.
We're huge sports fans. I mean, the betting book was invented in the Northeast.
Yeah.
So I mean. That's why it's so big because betting's so big. They make so much. Everybody makes so much money off of it, and it's very involved. Like I grew up in that. My dad bet on everything, like NASCAR, baseball, hockey. I don't even know how baseball and hockey work. Football. I think he bet on my little league team one time.
I've seen the lines for baseball betting, but I don't understand what they mean.
No, yeah, he tried to explain it to me. He even had a bookie. He used to run the numbers for people, like run envelopes back and forth and everything, and take numbers and everything. Huh. I don't know how it works. He was so into it. He did it for a part-time job. I mean, he did it for the money, but it's crazy. And then the one time we went to Las Vegas in October, during baseball playoffs, the lines were crazy just to make bets and what?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, on baseball, and I don't even know. I barely know how scoring works in baseball, and, and outs and all those. There's so many stupid rules, and people are like, "No, here's the lines." I'm like, "I'm out."
Yeah. Well, but the point I was making with the Phillies was, so you have teams like in hockey Tampa, or in baseball like the Marlins when they were really good. I mean, maybe these are all Florida teams, but
but most people in Florida either like Arizona or
like their home team.
Yeah,
where they're really from.
Yeah, then the Cuban only votes for the Cuba,
But the thing I think as a Phillies fan, you have to feel betrayed because when they were good, we showed up. I mean, I had the partial season tickets for years. that I eventually got rid of because the stadium experience was just so bad. Like once they started getting bad, I'll talk about that more in a minute. But um, we sold out every game for years. I mean, we lined their pockets with money.
Ticket sales are so bad for
Yeah,
Phillies games.
yeah,
In September, they added $2 dog nights.
nice.
Yeah,
But I'm saying the reason why is because when they gave us a good product, we went and we supported it and lined their pockets with money. I mean, jersey sales, at the ballpark was packed every night for literally years. I mean, they had a ridiculous sellout streak. And then they give us shit back.
right.
I mean, they took that money and they turned it into shit.
Right.
So, like, you just feel betrayed as a fan now of, like, well, why did they waste all our money? Like, what did they do with it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
parking, not the most ridiculous parking I've ever been to.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But parking is $20.
Yeah,
But if you just want to walk an extra block,
yeah.
it's $10. So like the parking lots are empty there too.
Yeah.
And the only place I would pay for parking is at the center, Wachovia Center,
Yeah.
because
That's where I like to park.
yeah, that's so far. Like when you go to Wachovia Center, it's so far from all those like ghetto $10 parkings that like
Yeah.
at 11 o'clock at night when an event's over, you don't want to walk through that.
Yeah.
So I went to a concert on Saturday night. I saw Counting Crows and Matchbox 20. I got two stories about that.
Yeah.
The first one is I went with my friend Katie, and we took the train there. So my dad would be super proud of me, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, we'll make the 6:59 train in her hometown, and we'll go to Camden, and we'll go see the concert, right?
I think it's so
And-
crazy. Like in Jersey, it's like there's all the different towns. Like
Yeah.
in Philadelphia, there's the one giant city. That's all we
Yeah.
have.
Oh, every town in Jersey's half a square mile. So
Yeah.
I was like, we'll catch the train, we'll go down there. It's good, right? And then I got there a little late. Like I was rocking out to Bruce Springsteen, which is another Jersey thing.
Mm.
And then like I'm driving down there, and like the train's pulling up. I was like, we'll catch it in Pensauken, which is 2 stops away.
We just have
Uh,
Will Smith.
Yeah. And
We just get jiggy with it.
so she's like, the train like only has 2 stops between then and there, and she's like, I was like, we'll totally make it. So I'm driving through Pensauken, racing I'm barely stopping at red lights. They're turning green, right? I kick her out of the car. I'm like, go buy tickets. I park the car. I don't even know
I
if
think it's woman.
yeah, I don't even know if I lock. I run up, right? The train's coming up. She's like, my change. I grab all the change, right? And like there's people. Luckily, there was like a guy on a wheelchair, and there was like no room. So like
Thank
the
God for
train,
the disabled.
yeah. And so now we get on, and I was like, my dad'd be so proud of me. Like I drove through like 2 towns to like catch this train that I never thought I could catch, and like I felt like really cool about it. So we go there. Parking is $30.
Yeah.
$30. I was like, holy shit, these tickets were free. I'm glad I didn't park. And then we met up with her brother and his brother's wife, and they paid for parking. I'm like, why didn't you guys just park at like your mom's house and take the train, you idiots?
Yeah.
So anyway, we go there, and then we go get drinks, and this bridal party comes up to me. And this one girl, good looking, not good looking enough to take a beating, but
Yeah.
good looking, goes, are you my husband? And Katie goes, he can be. And I was like, that's cool. And then like I'm looking because they're like right over by us, so I'm looking at her, and she keeps looking back. So I'm like, I'm gonna go talk to her, and like we're talking and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, are you really married? And she's like, yeah. She's like, let me get your number. And I was like, okay.
I mean, they're probably just into that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's fine.
whatever. What's going on?
Yeah.
So I give her my number, and I was like, let me get your number. And she's like, well, I don't need some random person texting me when my husband's around, so
Yeah.
I'll just text you if I want. And I was like, okay, so you really are married, you
Yeah.
know?
Had you texted yet?
No, she
Ah,
hasn't,
it's
but
disappointing.
yeah, I know. But it would have been really cool. I mean, like, she was good looking.
If she texted you definitely had to go bang her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
she was good looking.
100%.
Not like good looking enough to take a beating.
No, but they're definitely into that. I mean, they're
Yeah.
definitely like they're playing a game. So you're like you're gonna make 3 people happy by banging her.
That would have been great. It would've
Yeah.
been- yeah.
You're gonna be doing a real service.
Yeah, I just text my buddy Nate. Today he lives in Colorado. I text him. I was like, I hope I have sex again before I die. And he's like, me too.
Dude, me
So.
too. So
Dude, me too. You know you're in a relationship for the last like 2.5 years. Yeah.
so I feel like I might have brought this up last week, but Allison's still sleeping in our bedroom every night.
Yeah.
Her one of her little asshole friends like showed her some scary videos. Now she's like scared to sleep in her own room.
No.
It's really making me irritable.
Yeah. My my brother got in a fight with his ex-wife because
Yeah.
they went to go see War of the Planet of the Apes
Mm.
or whatever that movie is, and she plays up all the scary stuff. I'm so scared, and it's like not even scary. And then
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, you know, his ex is like, she's got to sleep in between me and my husband, and if you keep showing her scary stuff, that he's not going to come over. So now, like, it's like we have to like watch what we watch or watch what we
Well,
say or like scare.
Well,
It's
she
like,
can say that, but that's totally not her right. He can.
Yeah.
I mean, because did they have an actual like a child support agreement or a
No.
visitation agreement?
no,
Oh yeah. So if she tries it, he just takes her ass to court.
right?
And he will probably get more time with him than he gets now.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
So by all means, let her try that.
Yeah, but that's what you get when you have a 7-year-old, 8-year-old girl. Sometimes
Yeah.
they're just gonna sleep in a bed with you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well-
like if a 7, 8-year-old girl like woke up in a bed next to me, like take me to jail, please.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just I think when school starts again, she'll just get in a regular pattern and she'll go back to her own room and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it. So the first summer we were all together. Like we all slept in the same room because it was cheaper air conditioner wise. But now she's been sleeping in her own room for like a year and a half. So I don't know. So now it's real weird to have her back like every night. Like if it's one thing if she wakes up in the middle of the night and comes in, but to have it planned that she's sleeping in her room is like a little bit annoying now at this point.
All right. Here comes the old man portion of this show. Can you reach back and pass me them Tums?
Yes, hang on a second.
Yeah. So it's drinking one giant beer mixed with 2 smaller beers gives you heartburn. Yeah. So.
I don't know. I would drink a ton of water before I come over because now I'm like, I definitely used to drink all the time and drive and stuff, and now I really couldn't afford that, so I make sure I'm well hydrated before I come over here and drink.
You can't live in a house where 2 people don't have their license.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I drink a lot of water and then drink only 2 beers here. So
Right. 2 beers maximum.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. That's true because there have been times I haven't finished the 2 even.
right.
So.
And I've had some beers that are at this point like barley wine. Like Kevin, have one of these, and if you drink 2, you couldn't drive because they're like 9 to 11%
Yeah.
alcohol. So I love summer beers the best. I think the summer beers are the most flavorful,
Mm.
and they're like lighter and crisper and more sours. But winter beers are the darker, like 9%, ales, and they're delicious.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of think about that now. Just with the interest in not really getting drunk. Like I like to drink beer, but I don't really want to be drunk.
All right.
I definitely used to like the higher percentage beers because I didn't care about being drunk, and it was like I'm drinking a 4% beer. I'm not a woman. Like what's the deal?
All right.
But I look at that sometimes now, especially like for like the podcast nights. Like I don't think I would buy a really like a high percentage beer like this pumpkin or the peanut butter beer is like 6%, and that's like a little higher than I usually drink over here.
All right.
The Ealing is what, like 4 something probably.
Right.
Yeah, there's a mosquito near
Yeah, I know.
your head.
Keep trying to kill it.
Yeah, but no, because my favorite beer traditionally is the Victory Storm King, partially because of the Baratheon reference.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just an awesome dark beer. But it's like I think it's more than 9% alcohol.
It comes in the 750 bottles, right?
I've only drank the regular size. I'm swatting at the mosquito too, just to narrate.
I cannot wait till it frosts and it gets cold, so it kills all the
Kill all
bugs.
these fuckers.
Yeah, then we can keep the window open during podcasts because all the crickets are too loud.
Yeah, it's really hot.
Yeah.
But the other one I talked about was on my weekend. So I got called off of work on Saturday.
So you only had to work like what, 8 days in a row, or?
Yeah. I only had to work. So yeah, not my normal. So only 11 out of 12 days. Not my normal
Oh,
12 in a row.
that's nice.
Um, but yeah. So yeah, I called out of work, and of course that happens the week that my pay gets cut at my main job. So I really could have used that money. But it was just awesome because it was so Alice was actually out of the house. And so it was just me and Kelly in the house all day, and it was the first time that's happened since maybe ever. Like literally maybe ever, because obviously by the time we started dating, we both had kids. And it was the first time I've got to like just do stuff myself for like in maybe at least so we went to a wedding like 6 months ago now. That was like the last like day I had off where I didn't have Sam. Which I mean the Sam weekends are awesome, but it's it's different to essentially I have to pack like a whole week's worth of memories into those 2 days is like how I feel like with the Sam weekends. Like we're going all the time. Like, it's all, like the Sam weekends are almost like being on vacation, like where you go on vacation and then you're done vacation. And then it's like, oh, I'm really tired. I need a vacation now.
Right.
Like that's what the Sam weekends are like, because it's like, because like, oh, we have from Friday night to Sunday night, we have to do all these things. Like we have to make it awesome. And then we're busy and we're doing stuff and it's a lot of fun and it's awesome. But then like, so essentially I never get to rest.
Right.
So to have a whole day with like no kids, I don't know. I've bought now 2 gaming systems over the last 2 years. I bought a Wii U that I've used for a few hours. That was like me and Kelly's Christmas present to each other a couple of years ago. We thought we would use it. We never did. And then Kelly's, I guess it was her birthday present to me this year, was an Xbox One. And it's like basically been unused except for as a DVD player. So we were out Friday night. We went to the mall and I bought 2 like, we're like a used game store, and I bought like a couple games, and I'd sat and played like Final Fantasy Type 0 HD for like 4 hours on Saturday, and it was like, and Kelly was upstairs watching TV. I was just playing a game, and it was like, and I haven't done that since, I don't know, for like a couple of years, probably, at least, probably more than that. So it was like a pretty big deal. I mean, I definitely could have used the money going into work, and especially because I got called off, so that means that everyone had a really easy day at work because there were no patients there. So, it kind of felt bad to like give up the free money. I did actually for like an hour do some pen work later in the day, just because I couldn't take a whole day off. But yeah, it was pretty awesome, and I found like a Final Fantasy game that I had never heard of before that was actually really fun.
My weekend, other than the concert,
Mm.
like I ran around Saturday, and I worked Saturday. I ran around, then went to a concert, and then like Sunday I had to do more running around, and then I went over Kevin's house. We watched Game of Thrones, which we're not gonna talk about.
I was talking about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, which I watched and I felt like I didn't get any rest, but then I got like sick towards the end of the night, and I
Yeah.
wasn't feeling good on Monday, and so I called out, and it felt good just to lay around all day.
Yeah.
I didn't feel good Tuesday either, but I felt a little better. Then around like 1:30, I felt much better. So it was like real nice to like not have to rush around and keep doing stuff on Monday. So like I kind of get where you're feeling like you didn't have to do anything, and it
Yeah.
felt great. Like that rest, and then I go to work tomorrow. And then I took off Friday with no notice. So it's
Yeah.
like I have to work 3 days and I have 4 days off. And then they're like super mad at me about it, but they couldn't turn me down. They're like, well, I guess,
Yeah.
you gotta, we gotta.
That's the thing I always thought, like as a manager, is like, I mean, it's people's right to take that time off. Like I mean, obviously, if it's you can't like screw everybody and have a ridiculous situation with like everyone taking off, but
No one's taking off
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I think you should really bend over backwards to let people take their days off, and you
Right.
should figure it out as a manager.
Like you earn them, so
yeah,
might as
well,
well.
exactly. Because the place I work at part time, I used to work at full time, and I mean you could never take a day off. Like I mean you had to plan like 2 months in advance to take a day off because there wasn't enough staff. You can only have so many people off at a time, and it was just a disaster. So now where I work now, like when I'm not the manager now, but when I was a manager there, I mean I would really bend over backwards for people because it sucked to not be able to take a day off. Like I don't know. Like I think that's your right. That's what you earn as a worker. But
What are you gonna do?
yeah, but
All right. Before we get into Game of Thrones talk,
yeah.
that's it for this week's podcast. So we'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in to Whole Week Costa.